G'day guys, today we're going to be talking about boots, specifically the features in boots and what to look for when choosing a boot for your specific hunting applications. We'll start off talking about shanks. Now the shank in a boot is the nylon footbed. It generally runs from the heel of the boot right through to the toe and from the inside of the boot right through to the outside. The thickness of the shank determines how stiff or supple your boot is, and it also determines how much stability that boot will give you. In a soft shank boot like this, you'll get a lot of flex through the ball of your foot. You'll also get a lot of flex laterally through the sole of the boot. Now a boot like this with a soft shank is suitable for bush stalking, lowland country. It'll give you a lot more sensitivity in the boot. You'll be able to sneak around a lot quieter, but it won't let you tackle big heavy packs or big steep hills as well. Moving on to a stiff shank boot. The only difference is that the thickness of the shank is a lot thicker, and they can make it thin in certain parts to allow the boot to flex in specific areas. In a stiff shank boot like this, you'll get a lot less flex through the ball of your foot. You'll also get a lot less lateral movement through the boot. Now what this means is it'll allow you to tackle much steeper country, and it'll also let you carry much heavier loads comfortably. A stiff shank boot like this will let you sidle on really steep hills. It'll also let you front point into really steep country much more comfortably. The stiff shank boot lets you handle rocky, uneven ground a lot better also. It gives you the ability and the stability needed to stand on really sharp, uneven rocks, and it stops the boot rolling around underneath and around your foot. On most hunting boots available, they generally all come with a rubber toe cap. Now what the rubber toe cap does is it protects the toe of the boot from abrasion and stops the leather wearing out. Naturally, when we're sneaking around in the scrub, we tend to drag our toes a little bit. When we're kneeling down to shoot, kneeling down on the river for a drink, we always tend to drag our toes. That's what that rubber's for. It stops the toe of your boot wearing out. Moving on from the toe caps, we start to see boots with what we call a full rand. A full rand boot has the rubber running all the way around the boot. And what this does is provide extra protection all over the boot. Now you generally see a full rand in a stiff alpine style boot, and that's because of the country we're hunting in when we need the stiff hard out alpine boot. What the rand does is it protects the side of the boot from rocks. Now when we're in an uneven environment, our natural instinct is to place our foot between rocks for extra stability. This is where the wear happens on the sides of our boots, and the rand stops this from wearing through the leather and essentially making the boot last a lot longer. The next most visual difference you'll see between boots is the height. Now we look at these two boots. The one on your right is about 30 to 40 millimeters higher than the one on your left. Now what this does is provide a different type of ankle support, essentially further up your leg. So when we're walking on uneven ground and our boots are on their side like this, you want that ankle support to come up as high as you can cope with comfortably. This boot here, you can see it will only come up just above your ankle, leaving the rest of your leg reasonably unsupported. This boot will come up well above your ankle, giving you a lot more support above, on and below the ankle, essentially making it a lot more comfortable to traverse some hairy ground. One of the key things we look for in a boot is grip. Now depending on in your individual situation, there are a few key things you want to look for in the tread pattern on a boot. Openness of the tread pattern is key to getting good traction in slippery conditions. It also eliminates the sole from clogging up with a lot of mud, essentially leaving you with a smooth platform. The other key thing you want to look at is the heel stop. Now what this does is it provides braking when you're going downhill. You can see here in our more heavy duty boot that heel stop is a lot heavier and a lot more pronounced, so that will provide better braking on steeper country. The sole pattern is also really open, which means it won't clog up. We also have the little yellow hexagon here, and that means it's a Vibram sole, and the quality of the compound is much higher quality than a non-branded sole. This sole will wear a lot better and last a lot longer. Waterproof boots. Now the way boots are made waterproof is not through the exterior fabrics and material, but rather what we put on the inside of a boot. Now the inside of our boots are essentially a waterproof sock. It's seam sealed and is a 3-layer membrane in the shape of a sock that pretty much runs from here all the way down to the toe. That's what keeps your boots waterproof and stops the water getting in through the leather. It also keeps the water in once it goes in through the top. Often when you walk into a store to purchase a pair of boots, you're presented with often what might look like two boots that look very similar but are in fact quite different price points. Now the main differences in the price point are the choice of materials and the way the boots are constructed. You'll find in a more expensive boot the leather will be thicker, the stitching will be of a better quality, the sole and midsole will often be of a more durable material, and the waterproof membrane in the sock will be more waterproof and more breathable. While it's not apparent, I can comfortably say that the more you spend on a boot, the better it will perform for you. So to wrap it up, if you're doing predominantly bushwork without a lot of scree or rock or riverbeds, you're looking for a softer boot that will enable you to sneak in close on those animals. If you're doing a lot of alpine work or in a really tough riverbed environment, then you want to head down the road of a full rand stiff shank boot. If you're somewhere in the middle, it's all about what fits you best and what fits your budget. If you want to find out any more information about our boot range, check out hunterselement.com.